Hello, everybody. David here. Welcome. Here we share true stories from real people. Today, starting out with the first story. My parents surprised me with a family trip for my birthday, but when I brought my bags downstairs, my sister handed me a list of chores to do while they went on the trip without me. 3 days ago, I celebrated my 15th birthday, but things didn't go as planned. On the morning of my birthday, my parents happily came to me and told me they had planned a family trip as a surprise. Being the youngest and often overlooked, I usually don't get surprises like this, so I was genuinely thrilled. However, a few hours later, after packing my bags and bringing them downstairs to join the family, I found out that my parents had already left and only my 17-year-old sister, Alex, was waiting for me downstairs. She's the golden child who can always get our parents to do exactly what she wants, and this time was no different. She looked way too happy, so I knew something was wrong. When I asked what was going on, she told me that there was no need to pack my bags and that I should go back upstairs and unpack. At first, I thought the trip was canceled altogether, but then she said there wouldn't be any vacation for me at all. She handed me a piece of paper with a list of chores on it. I was so confused, and then she explained that even though our parents surprised me with the trip in the morning, they had discussed it afterward. Alex thought that since we have finals in a few weeks, it would be much better if I stayed home and studied while she could go because she had already finished all her work. Meanwhile, if I got bored not being at the beach with the family, I could start working on the chores that needed to be done around the house. She laughed and said that instead of sulking, I should be grateful that she was giving me some time to study and prepare for finals, instead of wasting time having fun outside with the family. I was so hurt that I didn't know what to say, other than asking where our parents were. She told me that she had dropped them off at the airport and stayed behind to personally deliver this gift since it was her birthday present to me. She said our parents didn't want to get my hopes up, but Alex had brought up my upcoming finals, which are only a few weeks after the trip, so they couldn't ignore that and thought this was the best decision. Apparently, they left Alex to tell me because they couldn't bear to break my heart themselves. I know Alex loves and enjoys any chance to humiliate me, so I tried to hold back my tears in front of her and went back upstairs with my bags. I waited until I heard the front door close, then finally broke down and cried for hours. Alex has always hated me, and I know that. I've also always known that my parents just go along with whatever she says without much thought because, to them, her word is gospel, but I could never have imagined they would do something so cruel and humiliating to me on my birthday, of all days. In the morning, after my parents told me about the surprise trip, I even texted my friends and told them I wouldn't be able to hang out with them that night as planned. They were even quite surprised that my parents had organized something like this for me. I guess some things really are too good to be true. Yet, I was still so angry. After I stopped crying, the more I thought about my situation, the worse I felt. So I decided to do something I knew would really upset my parents and Alex in retaliation. Since I was home alone, I decided to go into my dad's office and make a bunch of calls from his phone to all the important contacts I could find on his MacBook. I invited them to a dinner party that I was hosting that evening in celebration of my parents' anniversary as a surprise. I knew it was a last-minute invite, but I told everyone that I would really appreciate it if they could attend. Since I'm just a kid, most of my dad's business partners agreed to come to the party I was throwing. I did the same with my mom's contacts. Neither of them password protected their devices, and they made the foolish decision to leave everything at home, making it easy for me. Then I decided to message Alex's boyfriend on Instagram and tell him the same thing, inviting him over for the night. I also invited my friends and helped them decorate the house to make it look like a party. Finally, around 7 p.m., the guests I invited started to arrive, but they were quite surprised when they didn't see my parents anywhere. I told them that it was a surprise for the evening, so they would find out what was happening in due time. Once everyone had arrived, and I had taken a group photo with all of them, I decided to put my plan into action and told them exactly where my parents were. I told them the whole story of how I had been treated, and how my parents always seemed to think that whatever Alex said had to be done. Basically, I was like Cinderella, but had never spoken up about it until today. Then, I explained what had happened on my birthday, how my parents had abandoned me, and didn't even bother to explain everything directly to me, all because Alex thought it was the right thing to do. I saw many people were utterly shocked because my parents always presented themselves as kind and generous to others, but I can assure you that good people don't do things like that to their own kids. Anyway, after I finished telling them everything that had happened to me, I told them that this was exactly why I was throwing this party, to expose my parents and sister. If I hadn't ruined enough for the three of them, I also decided to show them the list of chores that Alex had left for me. I noticed her boyfriend sitting in the corner, completely unaware that Alex had this cruel and inhumane side to her. Everyone was silent after I spoke and shared what had happened to me. Over time, I think people realized there was no point in staying any longer, so some left without saying a word, while others tried to comfort me before leaving. The only thing I felt bad about was wasting their time. I decided to send the group photo I had taken with everyone who attended the party to my parents and Alex with the caption, "My birthday party had a few guests today. I think I'll finally start on the list Alex left for me." It was a perfect plan. After sending that message, they responded within seconds, telling me to fix what I had done immediately, and they would be home on the next flight. I blocked all of them and went to my best friend Fiona's house with my bag because I knew home was no longer my home. Fiona and her parents are genuinely kind people, and they've always told me their door was open to me, and only now did I decide to take them up on their offer and move in with them. I don't know how long they can support me, but for now it's all I have, and I'm so grateful they've opened their home to me with such kindness. Anyway, on my birthday I didn't hear anything from my parents, but the next day they showed up at Fiona's house. I guess no one was surprised when I chose to stay with Fiona since they knew we'd been best friends since we were little. When they arrived, her parents refused to let them in and said they had no business talking to me when I had made it very clear that I didn't want to talk to them about anything. But my parents started threatening to sue Fiona's parents, and I got a little scared, so I told them to let them in and I would talk to them. They were furious with me and said that no matter what they had done, I had no right to drag their business partners into this because now their entire reputation had been ruined, and not a single partner or associate was willing to talk to them. Some had even blocked my parents, and they blamed me for all of this, which I think is fair because I orchestrated the whole thing. But I also told them that if they had just been a little kinder to me and not completely humiliated me with that stunt on my birthday, I wouldn't have done anything like that. In the end, I yelled at them for always treating me so badly compared to Alex and told them that she, along with my parents, had ruined my life, and I would never forgive them for that. The argument escalated a lot, and we were all shouting so much that Fiona's parents had to intervene, and Fiona had to take me out of the room to calm me down. Once I finally calmed down, her parents came and told me that my parents had left and that they would ensure that they could never talk to me until I was ready to face them directly. Then, they suggested that I seriously consider legally emancipating myself from my parents because it was becoming increasingly clear that they didn't care about me, and that it was time to remove them from my life for good. So after discussing the matter with Fiona's parents, I decided to talk to a lawyer, and now we're moving forward with the emancipation process. I'm still very confused because this is a huge decision, and I don't want to regret anything in the future. But honestly, with the way things have been going, I don't think I will. Yesterday, my parents contacted me again against my wishes. Last night, I received an email, and from the address I knew it was from my parents. I really tried not to open it, but curiosity got the better of me, and I eventually read it. Basically, they started by saying that the reason they surprised me with the trip in the first place was because one of my dad's clients had opened a new spa resort at the beach. It was a perk for my dad, and the family just decided to take advantage of it at the same time as my birthday. But when Alex mentioned my upcoming finals, they didn't want my grades to be affected later just because I had gone on vacation with them a few weeks before the exams. They couldn't believe that I had misunderstood this as something malicious and tried to retaliate against them for it. It only made them feel like they hadn't raised me properly. Alex herself was upset and just wanted to be a caring big sister, so I didn't need to overreact like that. It was all nonsense, and I was actually so upset that I almost stopped reading the email halfway through. But then the second half talked about how upset they were that I had dragged others into our family drama and made our disputes public, which they never wanted or expected to happen. They said that no matter how much we argued, I never came to them to say exactly what issues I had with my parents, so they never had a chance to address them. They insisted that if I had just talked to them once and discussed my feelings, they might have been able to work things out with me. But instead, I took such drastic measures. They said the list of chores Alex gave me was a bit much, but I should have called them afterward and questioned them about it. It would have come right back if they knew I felt excluded and abandoned. However, the way I chose to handle the situation was completely unexpected, and they felt terrible about everything because they really didn't want to hurt me. This was just an unfortunate misunderstanding that got blown out of proportion. They want to talk and work things out, but I don't know what I want to do right now. I'm so confused about it, so please help me. Was I wrong to throw a party and expose my parents to all their business partners and associates after they excluded me from the trip? Update 1. Most of you think that what I did was entirely justified and that they deserved it, and I shouldn't have to apologize for anything. So, I've decided that I won't apologize. I blocked the email address they sent that email from so they can't contact me again. I know they could just create another account and keep trying to reach me, but I'll keep blocking them. I've made my decision. Whatever they try to say to me, I won't respond or even try to read it. It's not worth it. All it will do is confuse me even more. As for the emancipation, I've decided to go through with it. It's a big step, and I know I'm still very young, but Fiona and her parents have assured me that no matter what happens, they'll be there for me, and I have nothing to worry about. They even told me they could legally adopt me if it would make me feel more secure, and I think that might be a good idea. But I haven't fully decided yet. For now, we're just focusing on the emancipation. We've talked to the lawyer, and the paperwork is being processed. I really don't know how my parents will react to this because when they sent me that email, I could tell they weren't happy about me choosing to live with Fiona and her parents at the moment. That doesn't make sense to me because with the way they've treated me my whole life, it's clear to me that they don't really love me that much. At least not as much as they love having Alex around. That's crystal clear to me, but they're still trying to reach out to me, which is confusing. I have a feeling they just want me back to fix their reputation and image, nothing more. For now, all I can do is wait for them to receive the paperwork and see how they react. It's been a few days since my post, and they haven't tried to contact me again after that email, so I don't know how they're feeling now. I know things can't be going well for them either because a lot of people came to the party I invited them to. And I heard that Alex and her boyfriend have broken up, but of course, no one knows the reason except me. Update 2. A few days ago, my parents finally received the legal emancipation papers for me, and they were not happy about it, which took me by surprise. They called Fiona's parents, and there was a huge argument because they apparently believe that Fiona's parents are manipulating me into doing this and are controlling me. They don't think I'm doing this of my own free will, which doesn't make sense to me because they're aware of how badly they've treated me in the past. Of course, I'm doing this of my own free will. Somehow, I started to predict this kind of reaction from them after my last update. As many of you told me, they're doing exactly what I thought. They just want me back to show everyone that we're a happy family and that everything I said at the party was just a fit of anger. But I didn't go back to them, and that's what's really making them angry. The fact that I finally stood up to them is something they can't handle. It's sad that this is happening. They can call Fiona's parents whatever they want, but that won't change the fact that they deserved this. They don't deserve to be my parents, and now I'm finally free from them. I haven't heard much, but Fiona told me that it seems my parents called her parents all sorts of names and told them they would fight this in court if they had to because they have no right to manipulate me into doing all this nonsense, and they won't stand for it. They were pretty angry and even threatened to harm them, which I think is crazy because I hope they realize that's illegal and will only make things worse. The way they talk to me about Fiona's parents just reinforces what I've believed about them. They don't want me back because they see me as their beloved daughter, but because they want to fix their image in front of others. Not once did they say they wanted to talk to me or that they wanted me back. They just kept saying they know Fiona's parents want to ruin their reputation by using me and trying to show the world that I'm being mistreated in my own home, but they won't allow that. Why would they even want to do that? Fiona's parents haven't known me that long. They only met through us, so there's no reason for them to be competitive with them. There's no competition because Fiona's parents are much more successful in life and much kinder and more compassionate. But my parents are so worried about their image that they assume Fiona's parents are just like them and incapable of thinking about me. They just think they're trying to take them down. I wish I could tell my parents that Fiona's parents aren't pretending to be my saviors by trying to help me here. They actually are my saviors because I needed saving from them. If only they had realized that from the beginning, they would have regretted everything they've done instead of trying to create more drama. But Fiona and her parents have firmly instructed me not to communicate with them, no matter how tempted I may feel, because it's not worth it. I know they received the phone call from my parents a few days ago, and after arguing with them over the phone and only giving me the details they thought I needed to know, they told me that they had recorded the call. My parents were really stupid, because they could use that as evidence to explain why I deserve to be emancipated from them. They also told me that they wanted me to seriously consider whether I would like them to adopt me legally, and I finally agreed because I really do like them. I also know this will make my parents even angrier, but that's not really the reason. It's mainly because I genuinely feel they're incredibly kind and loving people, and having Fiona as my sister would be a bonus. So I'm all for it. They told me they'd talk to the lawyer again to start the paperwork for that because it could also help my emancipation case, knowing I have better people to trust and live with. Honestly, this is getting better and better, and I couldn't be more grateful to them. Update 3: Something terrible happened today. Long story short, Alex hit me after school. My last English class is held in the east wing of the school, and when I walked out of class, she and a group of her friends cornered me. Unfortunately, I'm always the last one to leave class because I'm so slow at packing up my things, and by the time I leave, most people have already gone. When I saw Alex and her friends waiting for me outside, I felt a little scared, but I didn't show it because that would only make them win. Anyway, as I started to leave the classroom, they came up to me and told me I wasn't allowed to leave. They made the stragglers leave and told me they had some unfinished business with me. I tried to stay calm and keep a level head so my fear wouldn't show on my face, but it seemed like they didn't care. Alex grabbed my arm and dragged me outside while I screamed for her to let me go, but the others were noisy too, and no one could hear me. Then they took me to the janitor's room and locked me inside after shoving me hard. I kept banging on the door, but they stayed outside, and I figured even if someone heard me, they wouldn't dare do anything because Alex and her friends were upperclassmen with a bad reputation. After leaving me there for about 5 minutes, Alex let me out, and by then almost everyone in that part of the school had left. It was just me against them. That's when she slapped me across the face and started yelling at me. She called me selfish and said I was ungrateful to our parents. Then the real reason for her anger came out. She started accusing me of being the reason her boyfriend broke up with her. Then she slammed my head against the concrete. And that's when I started feeling really dizzy. She took advantage of that and kept punching me while her friends watched and laughed. It hurt so much, and I tried to defend myself, but Alex is a few inches taller and a lot heavier than me, so I couldn't do much. At one point, I actually started curling up against the wall, and she kept hitting me. Once she was satisfied, she gave me one final kick and left with her friends while I slumped against the wall, crying. About 15 minutes later, Fiona finally found me sitting on the floor, crying my eyes out. When I told her what had happened, she helped me up, and instead of walking home together, We decided to take a cab because I was too weak to walk. When we got home, I told her parents everything, and they looked so serious. They immediately contacted the school and then the police. It's only been an hour since, and they've been on the phone the whole time, so they're quite busy, but Fiona is taking care of me because I'm pretty beat up. The bruises are starting to show, and everything hurts, but I know Alex is going to get what's coming to her for this, and she's going to get it soon. There's a lot I want to say, so I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Last week, Alex hit me, but luckily, the school intervened on my behalf. They shared the security footage from that wing of the building with the police, so it was pretty easy to charge her with a misdemeanor. She asked to do community service to make up for it, but the best part is she got suspended for the next 6 weeks. That means she won't be able to attend the prom, which she was really looking forward to. She also won't be able to take her finals with the rest of the class, and will have to take them separately, so she won't be able to cheat. I think she deserves it, and I felt pretty vindicated when Fiona told me all of this. Another big thing that happened is that after all the drama with Alex, my parents decided to terminate their parental rights. That's right, they terminated their parental rights to me, and all the paperwork has been signed, so I'm finally free. Fiona's parents are in the process of legally adopting me, so I'm so grateful to them for that. My parents said that after everything that happened, they didn't want me in their family. I know they'll try to make it look like it's my fault, but I don't think anyone will believe them, so they can try all they want. Anyway, I don't care, to be honest. Now that I'm finally part of a happy family, I can assure you that my new sister and parents will be much better than what I had before. I really can't believe that things are finally working out for me, and I'm probably the happiest I've been in a long time. I'm so happy that I almost forgot I have finals coming up. Update 5. It's been a few months since I last updated here, but now it's summer break, and I have more free time, so I can update you on what's been going on. The good news for me is that I did well on my exams despite everything, so that's a huge plus. I might have failed a few classes, but even though I didn't get the highest grades, at least I passed them. I hadn't seen my sister since she was suspended, so I was able to focus on that instead of worrying about whether she would attack me again. I agree with some of the comments that Alex got off too easy with everything she did, but there's not much more I can do beyond calling the police. If the justice system only gives her community service, then maybe it doesn't work so well. Maybe it's a message from the universe telling me to study to change it. Though I'm not too keen on pursuing a career in law. As for my parents, I haven't heard from them all this time, and that's okay. Fiona's parents are still going through the adoption process, which is going a little slowly, but I guess it will be finalized soon. Update 6. I'm updating because I went back to school a few months ago after spending the summer with my new family. Yes, I've been adopted, so they're my new family and my only family. The paperwork came through last week, so I'm taking this opportunity to update. The good news is that Alex still hasn't returned to school. My parents have moved away after everything that happened, and took their precious daughter with them, so I don't have to worry about running into Alex in the hallways. I've seen her friends, but they haven't done or said anything to me, so I'm okay with that.